Part 1. When the forest called. Late evening. The forest breathed with fog, and the last rays of the sun trembled between the tall pines. Leah stood at the edge of the forest, clutching her backpack. "Are you sure you want to go now?" Marco asked, stopping her with his gaze. "He's calling me. Today the voice is stronger than ever," she whispered. Marco looked back at the dark trunks. The voice of the forest. Leah didn't answer. The wind lightly touched her cheek, as if confirming. They stepped inside. The forest seemed alive. The branches rustled softly, as if someone was whispering words that people didn't yet understand. Part 2. A Trail of Light. The road led them deeper and deeper into the unknown. The fog began to shimmer with a soft, bluish glow. "Leah, do you see this?" Small balls of light appeared in front of them, floating smoothly in the air between the trees. "They show the way," she said. "What if it's the other way around? What if they lure you?" Leah smiled. "You've always been a pessimist." Marco sighed and followed her. The balls glided forward, waiting for them to catch up, then moved on, as if alive. Part 3. The Lake That's Not on the Map. The light led them to a lake, quiet and smooth as glass. In the center of the water shimmered an island with an old tree that looked like a giant crystal. "There was never a lake here," Marco said quietly. "There was. Just not for everyone," Leah answered. She leaned towards the water. The surface suddenly trembled and revealed a different picture. The same forest, but distorted, dark, as if dead. Marco stepped back sharply. "What is this?" "The future, if we don't help," said Leah. Silence fell around them. Part 4. The Voice of the Tree. A dull sound came from the middle of the lake, as if a tree had sighed. Then a voice sounded in Leah's head. "Only you can restore balance. The forest is disappearing." Leah tilted her head. "I can hear him. He's alive. He's asking." Marco rubbed his face wearily. "Of course he's asking. We're standing in the middle of a magical lake and you're talking to a tree. Why not?" "Mark, I'm serious. We need to get to the island." He looked at the water. "And how?" The fog began to form a narrow, shining path. Marco silently raised his hands. "Okay, let's go. But if we fail, I'll grumble even in the afterlife." Part 5. The Island of the Heart of the Forest. On the island, the tree turned out to be many times more majestic. The bark shone as if sprinkled with tiny stars. Leah placed her palm on the trunk. "The forest is weakening. Some of its strength has been taken away. You must find what was stolen." Marco blurted out. "And what, exactly?" The tree answered with a soft chime. Something resembling a small sphere of misty light appeared on the ground in front of them. "The heart of the forest. It is broken. You will find fragments in 3 places." Leah lifted the sphere. 3 dark cracks were visible inside. Marco whispered softly, "It seems that there will be adventures." Part 6. The first part. The Shadow of the Bear. The balls of light led them on. Soon they heard a roar. "Marco, it's a bear." "I hope it's a ghost." A massive shadow appeared in the darkness, but the bear was transparent, as if made of smoke. Its eyes glowed blue. There was sadness in them, not aggression. "He's guarding the fragment," said Leah, and stepped forward. Marco grabbed her hand. What are you? He's big even for a ghost." Leah stood in front of the bear. He bowed his head, touched her forehead with a glow, and crumbled into a soft mist. The first fragment remained on the ground, dark, heavy. Part 7, the second fragment, underground whisper. The road led to the cave. Inside it was quiet. Only drops occasionally fell into the invisible depths. "I don't like silence," Marco said. "This is not silence. This is the whispering of stone." Symbols appeared in the darkness, glowing. They moved as if to show something. Leah reached out, and the symbols formed a path. At the end, they found a second fragment, hidden in a stone arch. When Leah touched it, the cave became quiet, as if it had exhaled. Part 8, the third fragment, in the heart of the storm. A wind rose above the forest so strong that the trees began to bend, as if bowing to an invisible force. The sky flashed with lightning without a sound, only white flashes, like the breath of a giant. The luminous balls trembled, but still floated forward, showing the way. "I already hate this part," Marco grumbled, grabbing a branch to keep from falling. "A little more. I feel the third fragment is very close," Leah said, trying to block out the roar of the storm. They came out into a large clearing. In the center stood a vortex, but not an ordinary one. It had the shape of a huge eye made of wind, light, and dust. Inside they could see figures, like the shadows of animals, people, even winged creatures. Marco blinked. "Tell me I'm dreaming. Tell me we won't go into this," he added, and pointed to the vortex that echoed with a low rumble. Leah touched his hand. Together, always together. She stepped forward. The wind immediately caught her, lifting her hair into the air. Marco, barely suppressing his fear, followed her. When they entered, the storm died down, and the world changed. They found themselves in the space between time, in a transparent sphere where fragments of the forest's memories floated around them. Trees grew backward and forward in time. Animals appeared and disappeared, as if turning the pages of a video book. "Leah, we're inside the memory of the forest," Marco whispered, enchanted. A bridge of light opened up ahead. Below him was an abyss in which green and purple streams of energy swirled. "Stay close. You can't touch anything here," said Leah. They walked along the bridge, but suddenly a creature appeared from the side, like a wolf with sparkling eyes made of living fog. Another one followed, and more. "Seriously? We're in an interdimensional world and a pack of fog wolves are chasing us?" Marco shouted. "Don't run, they react to movement," Leah exclaimed. Marco braked sharply, and the wolves hung in the air, trembling. Okay, I'm not moving." "Leah, maybe next time we'll go on a normal adventure? With a cat, for example?" In the distance, in the center of the sphere, a third shard hung, levitating above an ancient symbol that glowed green. Leah cautiously approached, but as soon as she reached out, the symbol lit up and transformed into a luminous bird with luxurious wings. It circled above her, making ringing sounds. "It guards the shard," she whispered. The bird approached and touched her chest with its wings. Leah closed her eyes and saw a vision. The storm was born because the heart of the forest had lost its balance, and this shard held one of the last threads of magic. She whispered, "We will restore your balance, I promise." The luminous bird quieted down, touched her forehead, and dissolved. The shard fell into her palm, warm as if alive. The sounds died down. The wolves dispersed into the mist. The bridge began to melt. "Time to go," Marco shouted. Leah grabbed his hand. The world around them spiraled, and in a moment they were standing in the clearing again, under the light evening wind. The storm had disappeared. The forest was silent, but it was a quiet, good silence. "Well, enough adventures?" Leah smiled. "I take back what I said about the cat," Marco exhaled. "I choose you, and the forest. But please, a little less wolves next time." Part 9. Restoring the Heart. They returned to the lake. The path reappeared. The tree was waiting. Leah placed all the fragments into the light sphere. The cracks came together, and the heart flared with a soft, green light. The forest came to life. The fog cleared, the grasses glowed with dew, the birds sang, as if waking up after a long silence. "We did it?" Marco was surprised. The tree answered, "Yes, the balance is restored. The forest will remember you." Leah sighed with relief. "Let's go home." Marco smiled. "Let's go. And tomorrow you tell me how you hear the trees. I need to get used to it." They set off back along the same path, which now seemed golden and kind. Part 10. Return to the Edge. When they left the forest, the sky was already pale from the first rays of dawn. Leah looked around. The luminous balls were slowly disappearing, as if saying goodbye. Marco sat down on the grass. "It was the strangest night of my life." "But you survived." "Because you were there," Leah smiled. The forest rustled softly, like a lullaby, and they fell asleep right on the edge of the forest, under the warm morning light.